Thanks, Jerry. What a pleasure to be here. It's been 10 years since I stood on a podium, so forgive me if I'm a bit rusty, but delighted to be here to update you on the Firefinch story and the rebirth of Marilla the gorilla. So, in the last 6 months, it's fair to say Firefinch has been completely transformed by the acquisition of the historical Marilla gold mine from Barrick and AngloGold. We took it on with a lot of data, a lot of historical information, but not much love over the last 12 years, to be honest. And whilst it is remarkable what was left behind, we're delighted for the opportunity to unlock the residual potential. We have released this morning a new life of mine plan for Marilla, which demonstrates the rapid opportunity to grow production back to the 150 to 200,000 ounce per annum level, which will place Marilla back in the top 20 of ASX listed gold projects. We've got a 2.4 million ounce resource, which effectively is what was left behind, but from historical drilling. We've done a little bit of work on the satellites recently, and we've doubled the resources there. But the main game is Marilla. We haven't put any new holes into that yet. I'm confident that when we do, we will have a comparable success rate of growing resources and reserves. Importantly, we've got some meaningful numbers in that life of mine plan update this morning, not just the production rate, but we're forecasting an all-in sustaining cost over the reserve life, the current reserve life that we do expect to grow, of $1,124 an ounce, which shows there is certainly a fair degree of robustness about this project and operation. Cash flows over that reserve life of over $600 million US. We believe we certainly have a compelling valuation upside with not just Marilla, but some of you may well be aware we also have the Gulamina lithium project that we're seeking to attract a partner into with the view of ultimately demerging that asset. And I think right now, there's little, if no value aside to that in our share price, and I think that's another key catalyst going forward. These are the key metrics from today's announcement, that life of mine production of 1.45 million ounces. We're talking about 10 years because, consistent with ASX rules, we've stuck to the reserve to calculate costs and cash flows. But clearly there is more to come from Marilla, and it's our job over the next short while to untap that potential. With a resource base, as I say, of 2.4 million ounces, we've already got measured and indicated of 1.3, and that number will grow as we continue to drill. So the gorilla's back, and so am I after 10 years away. And a lot of people have said to me, so why? Why are you back as a managing director? My last role was with Exco Resources, which ended very successfully, as Jerry said. And I was on record as saying that I wasn't sure I did want to be an MD again. It's a pretty high, all-consuming job, as it were. But I couldn't resist this opportunity, is the short answer. It came across my desk somewhat unexpectedly, but it didn't take me long to realize just what it was. Marilla, the gorilla, in its day, produced 7 million ounces over a 9-year period, processing grades of 14, 15 grams. It was one of the highest grade open pit operations in the world at the time, and it earned the nickname. And just if you think that this photo was taken recently, it wasn't. You can see, it's not the greatest photo. There's a tube sign in the middle of the photo there. This photo was taken 5 years ago on a family holiday to London, and maybe it was my destiny. Anyway, here we are. Not sure if any of you have been following on the news flow, but I did speak to this transaction, the acquisition of Marilla, not just the resource base, the existing infrastructure, 4.5 million tonne per annum mill, camp, airstrip, existing workforce with a lot of experience and a 99.9% Malayan contingent. I spoke about it as a potential contender for deal of the century, and there's a couple of reasons why I did that. Firstly, I'd been at a lunch in Perth run by Paydirt, where they were talking about exploration and the cost of discovery. And one of the key figures, one of the key guys there was Stuart Matthews from Goldfields. He said, we'll carry on exploring because we can't buy ounces for less than we can find them for, and our discovery cost is $63 an ounce. Simple maths will tell you that $30 million for 2.4 million ounces is an acquisition cost of well under $15 an ounce. And not to be disparaging at all about the Regis acquisition recently, but the metrics are for a very similar sized resource base, they paid $900 million. And in time, I'm sure that'll be a value-adding transaction for them. But Marilla is spectacular in its metrics as an acquisition. So much so, I asked Liam Twigger, who's here on behalf of PCF, who are working with us on our modelling, and he also runs Mines Online, and they involve themselves in a number of transactions. Did you run the metrics for this acquisition? And he said, no, it was such an outlier, it would stuff up all our numbers. So, I think that tells you what you need to know about just how valuable and transformational this acquisition has been. Just, I guess, backing up what I said about where we'll sit when we are producing 175,000 ounces in 2023, we'll be in the top 20. I'm sure some of these other projects will ramp up as well, but it's real and it's meaningful, and it's going to generate a fantastic platform for this company to continue to grow. The exploration upside here, Brownfields exploration upside to all intents and purposes, is enormous. If you look to the far right of that section, you'll see in purple the guts of what was Marilla the Grilla. That was the 14, 15 gram material that was mined back in the early 2000s. But you'll also see below the pit 56 meters at just under 5 grams, which is there for the taking. Hasn't really been followed up. It'll be one of the first targets that we have for our diamond drilling programs in the next short while, and could potentially lead to an underground scenario. But at the end of the day, ore bodies don't stop at pit floors. They don't stop at pit boundaries. We've got ample targets to be going after here outside of the known resources. Very confident that this current mine plan will be stage one, and that we will grow from here. Our ramp up, as you can see, we are currently producing gold from tailings retreatment at about 10,000 ounces a quarter. We are on the brink of mining and processing from the Marilla Pit 5, which is a satellite right next door to the Marilla Pit, a 1 kilometre haul to the newly refurbished ball mill, and we'll be producing from the full-blown processing circuit by the end of May. That will quickly ramp up as we dewater Marilla over the next number of months. We do want to ramp that up and go harder, because the quicker we get into Marilla, the quicker we access the sizable tonnages and ounces profile that you see here. The intensive drilling that's spoken about will start soon. We've got 2 rigs operating at the minute, very well supported by Capital Drilling. We've got a 3rd rig hopefully coming very soon. And the team are all fired up to get into the highest priority target straight away. And it's important that we take the right steps when we get into the mine schedule here of Marilla. If there is to be an underground, we need to know that sooner rather than later. And it's all about optimizing the feed to the mill and the grade tonnage profile, optimized for maximum cash flow generation. I think there's a graphic running on our booth and a link to the 3D model for Marilla in today's announcement. When you have a look at it, it's very striking how little drilling has been done outside of the historical pit. And as I say, just sits there as very low-hanging fruit in our minds to be targeted immediately. A lot said about Marley and what's it like as a jurisdiction. My last 10 years was with the Taurus Fund, and we did a lot of things in West Africa. We were invested in projects in Senegal and Burkina Faso, Ghana, Kenya, DRC. Africa is very well endowed with mineral wealth. There can be challenges in navigating your way around your license to operate and your relationship with your host government, but it's all about being proactive, not being complacent, and building the right sort of win-win relationships with government and community. When I look at the situation 10 months ago, Marilla was closing. Our lithium project was stalled, and we didn't really have any cards to bring to the table to demonstrate what it was, what was Firefinch providing to Marley. Well, fast forward to today, Marilla's restarting. We are on the brink of generating just a smidge under $900 million of taxes, royalties, wages, and local procurement over the next 10 years. And that's just the start. And Gulamina is in a process that we hope will lead to its imminent development. Suddenly there's 2 projects generating jobs, taxes, royalties, and revenues. Those are the cards we now bring to the table. And myself and my COO and CFO are heading over to Marley at the end of the month to build our own relationships with the local communities and the government, and obviously to take in all that we have over there. So just a quick update on Gulamina. We've been quite overt in the press of saying it is our intention to attract a partner and to demerge that asset ultimately. Macquarie were appointed at the beginning of March, and they're running a fantastic process, very well equipped in the lithium space to run a process and get the right players looking, and they've done that. But harsh but fair, deal making is a little binary. You've either got something to talk about or you haven't. We'll talk about something when we've got a binding transaction. We're very focused on delivering that this quarter. And we'll hopefully be able to provide the relevant details when we have. And from there, our shareholders stand to receive a pro rata share in the distribution of what will be a new ASX-listed lithium company. So, a number of key takeaways just to recap. We have acquired one of Africa's great gold mines. And Barrick, or Randgold and Anglo, they didn't walk away from this last year when they sold it to us. They walked away 12 years ago, and anybody who knows Mark Bristow will know that he absolutely has gone on to bigger and better things, had other priorities, and that's probably the main explanation as to why Marilla was defocused from their portfolio. It was in joint venture. He had better and bigger fish to fry within the Randgold portfolio that they owned 100%. That's our opportunity. I don't really mind what the explanation is. I'm just delighted that it's now our opportunity. We've announced this resource and reserve inventory today. It's just the beginning. The production profile, 150 to 200,000 ounces. We're capped at $300 million today, which is healthy. I appreciate that, and it's been a good start to my involvement with the company. But our peers who are producing those sorts of levels of production are capped at 2 and 3 times that. That's the upside opportunity on the gold side, let alone if we can replicate through our exploration and drilling efforts some of the high grades that this mine enjoyed in the past. We'll be producing ounces at a very, very high margin if we can do that. And the lithium today, I think we genuinely believe you get that for free. Gulamina has been taken to full-blown feasibility. It is recognized as a world-class ore body. Demerging it is all about unlocking the value. I think there are a number of precedents in the ASX space where companies had gold and rare earth assets or gold and other commodities. It's hard for the market to understand. You get a bit of a polarized view. So we think it's the right strategy to demerge. And those discussions are well advanced. And as I say, hoping to announce a binding transaction in the very near future. So look, that's it today. It was mainly about the life of mine plan. If you've got any questions about that, the release was out this morning, but I'll be at the booth for most of the rest of the day. Delighted to be here, delighted to be in this role, and look forward to many successful years ahead. Thank you.